Okay, so I want to share something deeply personal with you today. It's a story about how bringing a tiny, black, curly-haired puppy into our home completely flipped my world upside down. I mean, it literally changed the way I look at my marriage, my kids, and honestly, myself. It's just so funny how life works, bringing us the exact teachers we need in the most unexpected, chaotic little packages.
To really get how we ended up here, we got to rewind to 2020. We had just lost our 20-year-old cat, who was, for all of us, a huge piece of our hearts. And on top of navigating that grief, I was watching my youngest daughter really struggle with her mental health. So after talking with her allergist, we reluctantly took a massive leap of faith and brought a puppy into our family of 6, making us a very busy family of 7.
Now you're probably sitting there wondering, how on earth does the chaotic, messy energy of a puppy hold the secret to better human connection? Honestly, I didn't think it did either. I really just thought I was getting a cute companion for my daughter. But as we were figuring out our new pecking order, I realized this little guy was giving me an absolute masterclass on how to show up better as a mother, a wife, and a friend.
Well, for the first few weeks, we thought we totally lucked out. He was so timid. He never barked. He was terrified of his own shadow. Even the wind scared him. But man, about 3 months in, the honeymoon phase officially ended. He found his bark, and we were absolutely the blind leading the blind. The grand finale? He swiped an entire toxic fruitcake right off our counter. We were in way over our heads, YouTube videos just weren't cutting it anymore, and we had to bite the bullet and hire a professional trainer.
And that whole ordeal brings us to our first major lesson: boundaries and clear communication.
Our new trainer completely opened our eyes to his innate pack instincts. Just look at this contrast. Giving our dog a really strict rule, like absolutely staying out of the kitchen, actually gave him this huge sense of security. Clear boundaries literally took away his anxiety. And it's wild because we humans do the exact opposite, right? We deplete ourselves, we constantly bend over backward, breaking our own boundaries just to please others, which actually damages our relationships in the long run.
Another amazing thing about dogs is how incredibly straightforward they are when they need something. If they're sniffing frantically, they gotta go outside. Or they're hungry. If they bark, they're defending the den. They use these super clear physical cues without any hidden agendas, deception, or manipulation. You almost never have to guess what your dog is asking for.
Contrast that brutal honesty with our, let's be real, kind of toxic human habit of expecting our partners to just read our minds. When we hum and haw instead of just clearly communicating what we need, we resort to passive-aggressive behavior. We're literally setting our spouses and loved ones up for failure in a guessing game they are never, ever going to win. If we don't tell them what we need, we're robbing them of the chance to actually help us.
And to communicate effectively, you really have to learn to speak their language. I actually had to put my ego completely aside on my daily walks and learn to literally growl at my puppy to stop his bad behavior. I mean, it sounds crazy, but that's exactly what his mother would do. That vulnerable little lesson in speaking someone else's language was a huge light bulb moment for me. It helped me realize I needed to better understand my husband's core value of keeping the peace. Instead of assuming he just didn't care during an argument, I finally realized he simply shuts down from stress. It totally changed how we communicate today.
Which leads right into Chapter 2, Earning Trust and Granting Forgiveness.
Because trust is an incredibly fragile thing. Remember that toxic fruitcake? To avoid a trip to the emergency vet, my husband and I had to put hydrogen peroxide in his water bowl to make him sick. He drank it right up. Now, it saved his life, thank goodness. But the very next time I put a normal bowl of water in front of him, he hesitated. He looked up at me, questioning it. My heart just sank seeing that trust broken in real time. It was such a harsh reminder that when our actions and words aren't consistent, human trust shatters just as fast.
But here's the beautiful flip side. While trust is fragile, forgiveness is where dogs are just literal angels. We humans will drag out a wound, a grudge, or carry guilt for days, weeks, even years. We let one past mistake color our whole view of a person. Dogs, on the other hand, they are hardwired to forgive instantly and just live purely in the present moment, letting go of all the rest.
I definitely had to learn this the hard way. One day, my own nervous system was totally fried, and I exploded in fury over a mistake. I yelled so loud that my sweet pup ran to his bed, shaking like a leaf, completely terrified of me. I was sick with guilt. But to my absolute shock, a mere 24 hours later, he decided he was ready to forgive me. It was totally behind him, like it never even happened. It was just a profound lesson in separating someone's mistakes from who they actually are.
And that kind of grace brings us to lesson 3, letting go of expectations.
You see, a dog's incredible capacity for forgiveness really comes from the fact that they don't judge our motivations. It hit me like a ton of bricks one afternoon. I have never, not once, expected my dog to be anything other than a dog. So why am I constantly judging and trying to change my spouse, my kids, and my friends? We almost never come to the table in our human relationships without expectations. Just imagine how much better we'd be to be around if we loved our family exactly as they are.
All right, let's look at Chapter 4, Presence, Joy, and Self-Care.
That lack of judgment allows dogs to show up with this incredible emotional presence. I've noticed that whenever my kids are crying or upset, my dog senses it instantly. He just positions himself as close as possible and absorbs their sadness. He doesn't try to fix it. But us humans, we get so triggered by our loved ones' big emotions. We awkwardly and frantically try to fix the problem as fast as possible, mostly just to relieve our own discomfort, instead of just silently and lovingly being there.
And on the flip side, dogs never ever hold back their joy. Watching my pup jump around with just pure, uninhibited happiness, it really made me stop and ask myself why I used to suppress my own. I used to hide my giddiness because I'd been told I was acting like a child. My dog taught me to completely ditch the fear of other people's negative projections and just fully embrace my authentic joy.
Oh, and I also learned the hard way that if my pup misses his daily walk, all hell breaks loose. He acts out simply because his basic needs aren't being met. And honestly, isn't that just the perfect mirror for us? Particularly as women and mothers, we need permission to look after ourselves. Neglecting our own self-care makes us the absolute worst versions of ourselves, while making time for it allows us to be way better partners and parents.
Which brings us to our final lesson, loyalty and the true meaning of the pack.
Pulling all these threads together, we find the ultimate lesson of the pack mentality. Having a puppy requires constant effort and unbelievable patience, but the payout is this fierce loyalty and unconditional love. In a pack, loyalty is about survival. It means prioritizing the family over the individual and deeply trusting each other. In our human families, we often get so hyper-focused on our own personal growth that we forget how to hold our pack together. We need to remember that we can grow, our values can change, and we don't always have to agree on everything to remain fiercely loyal to one another, right from the heart.
This whole journey of raising a puppy has opened my eyes to so much more than just dog training. If you found this personal journey insightful, you can read more stories like these on sociomix.com, a place where thoughts become conversations.
So, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on today. We pour so much energy, patience, and just unyielding affection into our pets, right? Well, if you consciously directed that exact same boundless empathy and effort toward your spouse, your kids, and your friends, how differently would your life look right now? Stepping into love takes real effort, but I promise you, the reward of that unbreakable bond is always worth it.